And boom, we are live. And while we're waiting on a few people to chime in, or there may not be any, because I've cried wolf a little bit tonight with live videos. But this should be the only one that remains up. And I did send Paul Wibbles a text message, so you should be chiming in, Mr. Paul Wibbles. But I'm sitting here in my hotel room in Bardstown, Kentucky. Having a blizzard. You'll be happy to know I did not get an extra large blizzard. I got a small, and a small will be plenty. So we got a few people chiming in. But the title of this video is Heaven in Kentucky for Truck Drivers? And I'm here to tell you people it is. It is. This is going to be a short video. But I got to tell you guys about this account that I've been learning about this week. It's a good one. It's a really, really good account. The drivers I talk to, every one of them loves it because it's just set up cool. NFI has a lot of cool accounts. But once we get, I don't know, am I still driving? Not today, but I will be next week and the week after that. I know it's kind of weird, but so am I. But in Bardstown, the reason I'm up here, NFI, which is the company that recently acquired G&P Trucking, which is the company that I've been driving for the past several years. And it was a good thing for a variety of different reasons. And I believe it's only going to get better as time goes on, because NFI's got some smart people. But if there are any drivers that lives anywhere near the Louisville area, Bardstown's about 25 miles south of Louisville. I think it's maybe about 40-ish miles from Lexington. But in Kentucky, and from what I'm gathering, about the average income is around $1,300 or a little better a week. Now, top guys on this are more like 16 to 18 a week consistently, too, from what I hear. But as far as, what's advertised on the internet, you can go to drivers.nfiindustries.com. That's where all the current job postings are for NFI, and there's a lot. The majority are dedicated accounts. That's kind of NFI's thing. This particular one, it's averaged, it's posted an average income of over $1,300 a month. Starting pay is 48 cents a mile with verifiable experience. I believe it can be up as high as around 52 cents a mile. But, you hear that, and that's only part of the story, truck drivers, especially you new guys. I hear a bunch of freaking... hold on, let me rewind. But I hear others focusing just on cents per mile and thinking that's the only factor. How much your ass is you're sitting around not getting cents per mile, you got to factor in that. And also, are you live load on every end? This, all loads, well, can't say all loads. Well, I can't say all loads as far as going out are preloaded trailers that come out of Bardstown. And there's 13 what's called controlled states. This has to do with alcohol, people. That's what's shipping out here. Heaven Hill, the title of this video is Heaven in Kentucky. Well, it's Heaven Hill, which is a bourbon company. They're the makers of Evan Williams. I think the other one is Elijah Clark. But they also, they make tequila, Hypnotic, Burnett's vodka. There's a lot of things. The Heritage Center is at the bottling center, which that's where the accounts ran out of. Now, it's not distilled there. It's actually distilled in Louisville, Kentucky. It's about 25 miles north of Bardstown. But the bottling and the distribution is out of the Bardstown location, which is about 5 miles from where I'm sitting right now. What's up, Jerry Christensen? How you doing? That is so good. What's your favorite Blizzard flavor? I know a lot of people like Butterfinger and Reese cups. I've got the like turtle pecan one, and it's delicious. But this is a pretty awesome account. All the deliveries are morning deliveries. Most of the deliveries are 500 miles. Well, from like 400 to, well, higher than that away. They go as far as like Montana and Utah. So a couple of the northern states like Vermont, but Virginia, North Carolina, Mississippi, Ohio, they go to Indy. They go to Louisville. No deliveries on the weekends. No resets on the road. Actually, guys that, or I say drivers that live in like near the actual location, heck, they can get home once or twice a week and be off on the weekends. But they do hire out of a few other areas that are close to where they go, like those drivers from Virginia, a lot from Ohio. There should be some videos out covering this soon that will be on NFI's channel. The video, actually, give y'all a little sneaky peeky. This guy Mike, he's awesome. He's one of the top drivers on there, and he's actually only been on the account, I think, about a year and a half. NFI has had this account going for 2 years now. There's still 3 years left on the contract. But let's go to the comments. We got, what, 14 of you? And only 3 has decided to smash that thumbs up button. I don't blame you. Let's see. Here we go. And we won't let that echo keep going. We got a few comments in here. We got Tony Truman first, and then K1 Justice. I guess that's you, Ken Justice. Hey, buddy, how you been? We hadn't chatted in a while. Hope things are going good. I know you're just having a little, you've had some health challenges over these last few years, but I'm thinking about you, man. I wish you well. Oh, I see your comment now. You had a stroke. I'm so sorry to hear that. I hope you're recovering from it, Ken Justice. My Uncle Jimmy had a stroke a few years ago, and, those tend to have some lasting effects. Wow, Paul with the big $50 super chat. What? You have the floor, Paul. Well, let me tell you guys a story about Paul. Paul's a cool guy that's been watching my videos since way back, since like the prairie dogs in Utah gave me pink eye kind of days. That was a long time ago, guys. That's when I was still filming on just an iPhone alone. But every time I actually spend any kind of time in Louisville, Paul and I usually get together. He's come up to the truck show a couple of times, and he came down here to Bardstown. What was it? I think it was Monday. Because it wasn't yesterday. Yeah, Monday. And Paul is a bit of a connoisseur of the bourbon, and he educated me a little bit. If you guys want to know some bourbon facts, just let me know in the comments, because I got some I can drop on you. But now I have learned that a gentleman does not put Coca-Cola Classic in his bourbon. A gentleman drinks it straight, or neat, or on the rocks, or straight, or something like that. We were doing it neat the other day. And that good bourbon it's good stuff. It warms you up. It's a nice feeling. But I have not had any more bourbon since you left, Paul. I'm having ice cream instead. Trucker for life, I'm doing pretty good. Trucker John, I'm sort of on the road, but I'm at the Hampton Inn. Got a king-size bed over there. I got a Chevy Malibu out in the parking lot. That's a rental car, so this is fun. I'm having a really good time. But I tell you, when I'm talking with these truckers on this Heavenly Hill account, it makes me miss trucking a little bit, especially the kind where you have your 500 plus miles a day, you're treated good, and everything goes smooth. You're in new equipment. All I've seen, and I mean, this isn't a huge account because this is high value loads like liquor, especially like aged bourbon such as this. This is high value loads. I don't know exactly what the dollar value is, but it's got a few commas in it. Um, I forgot where I was going with that. Let's go back to the comments. Oh, about me being on the road. And those guys make me miss it a little bit because trucking is fun. It is when, it's not aggravating anyway. And all of these guys have good home times. Okay, John Plank asks, you're still driving? I guess I kind of answered that question. Ken Justice asked how I'm doing. It depends on the moment. Like sometimes I'm fine as frog hair, and I don't know, other times I don't know. I'm in my own head messing things up. But in all actuality, I'm very blessed. Got a lot of good things going on in my life. I've got a good family that cares about me. Got a handful of friends. So what more could a man ask for? A little hottie with me, a few days a week. That would be kind of cool. But once again, I'm in my room by myself like I am with my truck. I'm usually in it by myself. Jerry Christensen, Trucker John likes the double chocolate blizzard. Um, Paul said he was supposed to buy me dinner. Yeah, you had talked about that. The thing of it is, I have per diem when I'm on these trips right here, so I get reimbursed, and so maybe next time, Paul. Trucking with Kevin and Ollie. Talk about a bad time to say hi. After a 49, you've just set my record for super chats, Paul. I don't know if any. Paul is the heavyweight champion of the Truckerjim channel super chat. I've had some $20, never a $49.99, and I bet that's gonna stay true at least until the next video. Somebody prove me wrong if you want to. Let's see. Joshua says he's up to 6 figures gross in the Louisville area, about 1 day home a week, Identify comparable. I don't know. I'd have to do the math. On the Heaven Hill account, 6 figures, so that means what? $8,888 a month, which that would be a little over $2,000 a week. I hadn't talked to anybody personally that shared those numbers with me. Now I've talked to a lot of guys in the $1,600 to $1,800 a week. They have more than a day off. They have the weekend off, and sometimes can even get back during the week. And it's a very structured going to the same place because these are control states, I think is what they call it. It's all I have to do with the alcohol laws in these states like Vermont and Utah and Montana. Here in Kentucky is not like Louisiana, where you can go in a Walmart or a gas station and get you tequila and bourbon in there. In these states, you have to go to liquor stores, and that's what this dedicated account is for. But like I saw a GNP guy there today at Heavenly Hill, and a lot of other trucks too. A lot of tankers, because this stuff is going overseas. This aged bourbon it's not cheap stuff. But if you're making 6 figures somewhere, you treated good, you got good equipment, you got a good work-life balance. I don't know what, but probably there's not all of those things. That's probably rare in the world to have a total package situation. But I don't have all the fit. But I hear of especially the bread accounts. Oops, my batteries are going dead. Bread, milk. I hear those are, top guys are six figures on that. But a lot in the 70s and 80s. But, I don't have the stats in front of me, so I might be kind of talking out my ass. But for any questions like that, get in touch with NFI. Kind of the starting point is drivers.nfiindustries.com. But every member of the recruiting team that I've met is just fantastic. They're knowledgeable, um, and they've actually got some good positions to offer that would be a very good fit for a lot of drivers out there. Oh, get this. On this Heaven Hill account, guess how long the waiting period is for benefits? There is no wait. It's day one. Once you're hired, benefits go into effect right away. Your dental, vision, all that stuff. I think there's a little bit of wait before the 401k starts up and the matching contribution. Let's see. I do miss seeing you drive a semi. Once a trucker, always a trucker. I guess so. It does kind of get in your blood. And can any of you truckers relate? Like, even with this Malibu, I catch myself like driving it like a truck, turning all wide. Which right here in the middle of town in Bardstown, which is a very cool, like historic downtown, there's this humongous, like interestingly shaped building that used to be the courthouse. It's something about Bourbon now. There's like a cool brick thing that has like there are so many bourbon distilleries in Nelson County. Like Jim Beam's here, Maker's Mark's here, Evan Williams is, part of Heaven Hill. Wild Turkey, there's a lot of them around here. And they say the reason that 95% of the world's bourbon comes from the state of Kentucky is because of the water. It's high in lime, I believe, or limestone. And, there's corn here, and corn's like the predominant ingredient in the sour mash for bourbon. It has to be at least 51% to be considered bourbon. Most of them are higher than that. How much is a bottle, Jim? A bottle of what? I have not been in the gift store yet. They said it can get expensive, especially stuff that's aged 10 years or more. Paul could probably answer a lot more of your bourbon questions than Truckerjim can. I've learned more about bourbon probably this week than I ever have. Maker's Mark is maybe 15, 16 miles from right here. If y'all want to see a good video, well, somebody let me know the name of that video. But the first time I ever went to Maker's Mark in a big truck, I followed my GPS and it got interesting. I was going down some roads that were about as wide as my truck was, like through farmland and pastures. And a couple of the thank goodness I didn't have to make a right hand turn, but a couple of the left hand turns, I just knew bad things were going to happen. I was going to rip fences out of the ground. My truck was going to turn over. But none of that happened. I made it to Maker's Mark eventually. It was scary, but there's a cool video where I kind of shared the whole experience as it was happening. Back like I used to. But here lately I haven't so much been doing that, have I? But I am doing a live video now, so that's something. Anybody else got anything? Any questions? Because once again, I did not jot down notes of discussion points. I just came back from the Dairy Queen. I was like, hey, I'm going to talk to my friends on YouTube while I enjoy my ice cream. Did you make it out of Cox Creek? Did you make it out Cox Creek site? What are you asking me, Paul? I don't know what that means. Josh, also my pay is six figures, but I do pay $12,000 a year for my daughter and my health care. Also, my wife was raised in Bardstown, and we met while she lived there. Well, how about that? Small world, Josh. I tell you, I really like Bardstown. Um, the people here are super friendly. It just looks cool. I've only rode through, just like neighborhoods a little bit when I'm turning around like downtown. But there are some cool older houses. I don't know if there's suburbs in Bardstown. I'm sure there is, and newer houses. But it's got a cool look to it. There's so much bourbon here, and there's so much trucking here. I imagine there's some horses, and there's a lot of money in Kentucky. I would, and Kentucky is probably like what the most southern state. It's definitely southern around here. Let me toss my ice cream. That was pretty tasty. Is the audio okay on this, guys? All right. $12,000 a year for health insurance for just you and your daughter, or I guess that includes the whole family. So that's what, $1,000 a month, $250 a week health insurance. What is that, like a zero deductible and all of that? I hope it's some good insurance for that. I've heard the insurance at NFI is real good, and there's several different options. But the buyout of GMP, happened right at the end of the year, and well, we went. Well, I mean, we're on Blue Cross Blue Shield, and it has NFI, but I think the health plans at GMP, as far as this year anyway, does not equal what NFI has, which NFI pays pretty well, and their benefits are really good. Heck, even on this Heavenly Hill, when these guys have a live unload, if it is a live unload, they get $24 because it's a live unload. They get $6 just because it's a stop. Like every stop is $6, but if it's a drop and hook, it actually pays another little amount on that. And if it's after an hour, detention starts up. The detention's $15 an hour. And any kind of downtime, like if you're waiting, cause on the side of the road getting service, or have to go somewhere to get a PM, and they don't give a hard time. They just pay their drivers that. It's set up. They've got PeopleNet and all of the trucks, which are mainly Volvos, and those new Cascadias is the only trucks that I've seen, and they're very nicely equipped. They're beautiful trucks. But that PeopleNet, I've never personally used it, and I haven't driven a quote unquote NFI truck yet. I've just been in GP trucks, ones we had bought, and we still got the OmniTrack system. So it hadn't even been a year yet, and then COVID-19, so that may have kind of slowed things, because I know NFI had I don't want to call it a travel ban, but as far as like, I didn't fly up here. I rented a car, but I don't know. This time last year, I may have flown up here and got a rental car. Jerry says PeopleNet's the easiest to use. It looks like Mike was showing it today, and it looks more like tabletish or iPad-ish. I know I'm making up words here on this live call today, but it seems more like a modern device than the OmniTracks. And another thing that I really like about this account is they pay actual miles. The distance it is, the PeopleNet has a GPS with a geofence and all of that built in, so your arrive call pops up automatically. When you get to a place and you just do your empty call or whatever. They don't have to scan any bills at all, or at a truck stop, or even they don't even have to do it with a transflow on their phone, because they're always coming back to Bardstown, and there's not as much personal interaction, just because of freaking global pandemic and all that. So the drivers, when they pull up, there's a mailbox right there at the door to go inside to like where shipping and receiving and everything is, and your bills for that load, and also in most cases I hear your return load. So you already know what that is, and it's just a efficiently well run account. I've been very, very impressed with it. And the thought has popped in my mind, hey, I wouldn't mind spending some time in Kentucky. $220 a week for health insurance weekly just for myself and daughter. $5K deductible. It's terrible, and one of the reasons I'm looking for a new company. That's what you got to look at, guys, is like with companies, is the total package. Because if, like this example, making six figures, but not really, because it's $12,000 of health insurance. So if it was just a flat 100, that's but most of us don't get health insurance for free. I'm not going to start going political on there. I know there's a comeback. Yeah. Let's move on along. But benefits. You got to look at all of those things, and also how you treat it, and if you're going to enjoy your work, and your schedule. Especially some of these reefer guys. Your delivery time's 2 o'clock in the morning, and you have to wait around on that and all that kind of mess. The only times I was kind of cool with that is when I was doing videos all the time. Like, oh, now I have time to edit, but I would still like stay up well over half of my 10-hour break doing that, and that stuff takes a toll. It does. It runs you down. It ran me down. If you want to be back out in Bardstown, Josh, the management team, like let's see, Roger is like over several accounts. He's been there this week, but the main guy is Brian Anderson, and I've just been actually. Let me show y'all. I guess this is okay to do since we're talking about it. Let's see. I can't show you the whole thing, but I'll show you a little bit. This here is Mr. Anderson. Brian Anderson.
For NFI, the Heaven Hill Brands account, what we do
this is part of it right here. There's all these big silos.
Heaven Hill to the control states. There's about 13 control states in the country. We deliver to these prior to them going to the actual liquor stores. So what you've got is everything is one stop and no touch freight. So for the control states, we deliver to Iowa, Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Virginia, North Carolina, Alabama, and Mississippi. Additionally to those, we deliver to Indianapolis and Louisville. And then we've also been awarded lanes to Vermont, New Hampshire, Montana, and Utah. A lot of the drivers really like the fact that, especially if you live anywhere near this area,
that's enough.
We have the ability to get you home through the house.
Yeah, but Brian is a super guy. Okay, what's going on? I'm going live in the background. Does that annoy you guys when that happens and you're watching like somebody live and they're watching themselves live and that echo thing starts? Is Heaven Hill facility you're talking about off of 245? Nah, I think it's off of 150. It's near like the old Kentucky or something, some pretty nice golf course. And there's a McDonald's right there on the corner. The Blue Ridge Parkway and 150 cross, not very far away. Which I meant to go there today to try to get some footage of above a truck, but I just got too slammed. Drivers kept coming up. Well, I think I did a total of like 4 video interviews today, but I can't do any inside. I haven't filmed anything inside except for like a barrel that was at the doorway. Actually, I can show you guys that shot. Let's skip ahead a little bit. go. Oop.
4 a.m. or coming in real late one night and you're cutting it close on hours, if you come here, you'll have a folder
barrel.
with your name on it. In addition, keep in mind
That's
that
the
all you have to
closest
do
I've
when
got
you
to
return
filming
your
inside.
paperwork is just bring it back in the same envelope with your name on it and leave it. We'll take care of the rest. You don't have to worry about finding a location to transflow.
Okay. Might hit me with some questions. I feel like I'm delivering Might hit me with some questions. I feel like I'm delivering 245 does not sound familiar. Now, it may be. I mean, you probably know Bardstown better than me since you met your wife here. I've been here a few times and been through a few times, but this is my first time I've actually hung out here for a while. I've just picked loads up before. But I guess I can pull up my map program right here. Let's take a look. Wait a minute, Seattle. Okay. Here we go. I see what I'm off of 245. Okay, so that go, yeah, 245 is New Shepherdsville Road. It's not exactly off of 245. It's on the other side of downtown, headed towards Lexington instead of 245. As far as the bottling, where I've been is the bottling plant and also the distribution center. The Heritage Center, which used to do a lot of tours and things, I think that's kind of been put on hold. But they do bourbon tasting and educate people on bourbon. There's a gift shop in there that they probably got some pretty old, awesome bourbon in there. But I have not made it inside yet. I meant to do that today. They've got kind of funny hours, and it's under construction. They're building well, there's a museum, a bourbon museum there. I don't think that's open right now. It's under construction, and there's supposed to be, well, they are building a restaurant, which I hear it's going to be a fine dining restaurant. It's going to be on the property as well. So that should be pretty cool. And there's also, let me pull these up and show you. Where did I put it at? Heaven Hill Driver, Bardstown, Kentucky. Here we go. These are called rick houses. All right, y'all ready? That's a Heaven Hill sign. That's where the gift shop and the tasting is, and it is in that building. And that under construction is going to be the restaurant. But you see all that black stuff on there? That happens all over, well, bourbon country because of the charcoal that's in the white oak barrels that evaporate. Some people call it angel share. And well, this black stuff gets on people's houses. Mike was telling me you have to pressure wash your house every year. Driveways are probably the same, but they're at the bottling plant. Like if you see older trailers sitting around, they're black. There's some that are like totally black. But that's all the rick houses. They're kind of in the same. They're across the street from where the bottling plant is. But I hear those will hold about 50,000 barrels of bourbon. Yep. I saw a comment that somebody was relating with what I was talking about. Let's see. Oh, that's Josh again. Well, let's see. I know exactly where you're talking about now. Haha. Wife used to be a caddy beer girl at the golf course. Bill Murray plays there a lot. How about that? Bill Murray was in Caddyshack. What's y'all's favorite Bill Murray movie? I kind of like Groundhog's Day. Let's see. Jerry says, so Jim, you're doing public relations work for NFI? No, I would. No, nobody's said that's what I'm doing. I guess videography is really technically what I'm now. This here. Well, this don't count. I ain't even paid to talk with you guys about this. But like Josh or anybody else, if you do get in touch with NFI about this account or any of the others, if you like just be a good person and like say, hey, Trucker Jim, I know a lot more about NFI and all this because of watching his channel, then NFI does pay a referral bonus. Now, like US Express, for instance, which is a mega carrier. Some people call them puppy mills. They're churning and burning, and I did not feel care. For you guys that know my story, and I got fired from there for a speeding ticket that I ended up getting dropped after that, and they kind of turned me away from the big company just because it's so impersonal. And I lost my train of thought. I get to talk about US Express, I get all twisted again, right? Let's see, what was the comment? Stripes. That was one of the first movies I ever saw on VCR back in the mid 80s. Man, I was about to say something epic. I remember I was talking about they do pay a referral bonus, but like US Express, I think all they had to do, it was like I got, I had US Express record at the time for the most referrals from people, watching my season 1. And I think all they had to do was make it out of orientation and get on a trainer's truck or get assigned a truck or something like that. But it was only like $250 for students and $1,000 for experienced drivers was US Expresses. And a lot of them like didn't make it very long at all with US Express. NFI's is a little different. It pays the first amount after the person's been there 30 days, and then it pays the remaining amount after 6 months. And it's a total of $2,000. I mean, it's $1,000, at the 30-day mark, and it's $1,000 at the 6-month mark. But sure, I'd rather get $2,000 when they get assigned a truck. If all I'm thinking about is myself. But I kind of didn't feel good. I mean, I didn't send the money back, so don't say I'm a super noble Jim or whatever. But I really didn't. You know what I mean? I didn't feel good about a person quitting, and that, and for them, cause I don't know if they had a job before or they didn't, or whatever. But it's an opportunity that didn't work out, so that's not all that awesome. And then also for the company, they pay all this money to get a driver and orientation and pay a referral bonus, and then they ain't got nothing. But mega carriers, that's part of their plan. But I think with the stretched out 30 days and then 6 months, it maybe naturally kind of has an environment where referring driver can kind of maybe be there. Not be there physically most of the time because this is trucking, but at least be a phone call away to maybe help the driver through their growing pains their first month or so. But anyway, I need to get a couple of those because I got some gear that I need. Like, my drone flies, but the gimbal's all messed up and it's pointed to the side. Don't get me started talking about the gimbal and I'll get all upset. But man, I wish I would have had a drone here this week. Like those wreck houses, that video I just showed you a while ago. Imagine how cool it would be if I had a camera flying around above those, getting aerial, and you could see all those in the shot, and then see trucks moving around there at the bottling plant. That'd be awesome. This downtown and that big courthouse, getting shots from the air. It would be better. Not that the whole video is going to be drone footage, but throwing a little in there for perspective, it just makes it better. Especially when it's smooth and it's not shaky and it's not overdone. I don't really want to get my drone fixed because I don't like the design of it anymore with that little dangly ass gimbal. The Mavic Air and also the Mavic Pro 2, which is one I really want, but it's a $1,500 drone with just one battery for it. I don't know if my old batteries would work on the Mavic 2 or not. I'm not sure. Probably not, because I think the new batteries are better. But yeah, that. And then, that's going to be the first thing. And then, this old camera here, which people think this thing's more expensive than it is because of this thing. But this, you could probably get this thing on eBay for like $200 or $300 now. It's a Canon T6i. But this is not the lens that it comes with. But also, this thing gives it a little more dramatic. Bow! Looking awesome, but I mean, it's still a good lens. But this is one that comes on like the 70D, which is a little better camera than this. But the autofocus is not that great. And the low light, well, I'm learning. I film only in manual now, which manual is the M on here. And you got to mess with your exposure and aperture and white balance and all that to get the footage looking good. But it looks so much better than just throwing it on auto. I can't. I don't film auto at all. But my first few seasons of Truckerjim, like with this camera, well, the first was just on a cell phone. But after I started this, for the longest time, all I did was film auto. Because most of the time I was just filming myself. If I filmed anything else, like driving, road footage or whatever, I used the phone. Look at that. We got 19 people in and 17 thumbs up and a $49 super chat. That is pretty good ratios right there. We got a few more comments. Keep them coming, people. This is fun. How long has this video been going on? 42 minutes. Has it really been that long? All right, we're going to end this before an hour at least. But let us know where you're at. Are you sitting in a truck? Are you sitting at home? How was your day? What's going on? 245 is a highway connecting to 65. Okay. How you doing, Big Jim? I'm doing fine, Michael Wolf Bear. If you had a chance, would you ever go back to U.S. Express? My first thought is no. I wouldn't. Because what do they got? Like Dollar Tree and Dollar Generals? I don't really want to do that. And not that I'm a grudge holder. Like if they called and tried to talk sweet to me and offer something awesome, then that's one thing. But me sitting around and like just fill out an application, nah, that ain't gonna happen. Christopher Moore says, I'm from that general area. If I recall, several Heaven Hill rick houses caught fire and destroyed close to 100,000 barrels of bourbon. I don't know if it was, Heaven, Mike was telling me about it today. It was a few years back. There was a fire somewhere in it and it spread. And this was a pretty big deal in the area. Mike was telling me, and all that they've redesigned how the rick houses are with like, I don't know, a ditch or something around them now to keep fire from spreading because, the barrels burn and bourbon went everywhere. And this was like big freaking fire. It flowed down to the river and the river was on fire from what I understood. And fire departments from all over the place were coming to put it out because bourbon's pretty daggum flammable. It's about as flammable as gasoline, I think. Old navigators just driving and listening. Just entered Kentucky on 34. Well, welcome to Kentucky. I've always liked Kentucky. Some of my favorite times with G&P, I was on regular Kentucky runs coming up here to Ford and Seva, which I never really liked going to the Ford plant. It just kind of stressed me out. And if anybody's been there, you can probably relate because they're not the nicest people there. Like, I don't feel loved and appreciated when I take tires to the Ford plant, because rarely will anybody even speak to you. But they want you to sit there till they pull you up in the computer, and then they'll just wave you on. And then it's kind of a. I mean, I've had tighter backing, but it's not. When you're in a sleeper truck, it seems like it's maybe more measured with the idea of day cabs and yard dogs and things there at Ford. And then you empties on the other side of town and all that, and you don't even get paid to go get it. But Siva was a piece of cake. I always like preferred the Siva loads. Siva would take it to the other Ford place instead of going. But it was good miles and everything, and the truck stops and people are running to. And then there's old Kentucky Trucker, which he don't live in Kentucky anymore. And last time I talked to Kentucky, I think he had just got out of the hospital. He was recovering from another elbow surgery. I'll let Kentucky tell y'all the details of why he had to have another surgery. Christopher says, yes, it was an EPA disaster. I'm going to have to look that up, because I believe it was Heaven Hill. I'm not sure how long ago. Well, hell, I got a computer in front of me. So what would we Bourbon fire in Kentucky? See if that pulls it up. Thousands of fish have died after a fire at a bourbon whiskey distillery in Kentucky led to alcohol-contaminated water entering rivers and streams. About 45,000 barrels of bourbon burned in a blaze at the Jim Beam warehouse, where firefighters from 4 counties were enlisted to help contain it. Now, that was one that was fairly recently. Jim Beam warehouse, 45,000, okay. Dead fish. Wow, there's some pictures. Man. Wow, look how contaminated the river is right there. And I'm sure the fire department was spraying all that foam and things. Now, I think this was pretty recent. I remember here, maybe this year or last year. But I was thinking Mike was telling me about it. Maybe this is the same one. Wow. I bet that was so. Look at that. Jesus. Woo! I can feel the heat from here. Oh, a horrifying picture of Heavenly Hill fire 18 years ago. Okay, yeah, there was one. Let's see, I don't know if it's still 18 years ago or it was, but yep, you were right, Josh. There was a Heaven Hill fire and a Jim Beam fire. Wow, man, I think this one was burning hotter than that Jim Beam fire, because I believe the Heaven Hill one spread to several of these things. In the Jim Beam, there was only 45,000 barrels, and I think about 50,000 will fit in one of those. Okay. Yeah, see, yeah, it was just one at Jim Beam. Let's see, where's this other? If we can find out. Fire destroys. We talk about bourbon, rye, or any American whiskey, and yes, even Reddit. Nah. Okay, I'm gonna put this back on me, guys. Let's see. I remember that night. Fish was playing Rupp Arena, and the sky was lit up so much I thought Bardstown was Lexington. My grandfather, who was from there, said that so much liquor spilled in the river that the river was literally on fire. It was pretty crazy. Also, Fish played one of the most epic versions of Bathtub Gin that night, close to 30 minutes long, and jammed into Funky Town. This is Top Bourbons. Elijah Craig. I hadn't tried that yet. Four Roses. I think that's actually a Heaven Hill batch. And just a little tip for you guys. It's Heaven Hill, but the guy that it was named after, that started it, his last name is actually one word, Heaven Hill. Um, William Heaven Hill. He's actually buried on the property, from what I hear. Maybe I'll try to find his grave tomorrow when I'm out there before. But I gotta leave sometime tomorrow. I'm supposed to go to the distillery and get some footage of that. I'm even got a driver named Joaquin that I'm going to be meeting with. That's one of the top drivers, and he's delivering to Louisville to one of these places. So I don't know if I'm. There's been talk about me riding out to one of the deliveries. I don't know, but I will be headed back because I got to have my rental car back by 12:30 because I picked it up a little early Sunday. Then I was then what my sheet said. I'm not finding any more about the big fire from 18 years ago. So let's go back to the comments. Did I close my YouTube thing down? Let's pull it back up. All right. EPA disaster. The Navigator is in the building. Jim, if you had a chance to work for NFI, what would you do there? Any good accounts? Yeah, I can't even tell you all the accounts, but I don't personally know of one single account that's an NFI account that was started by NFI that sucks. I don't know of a single one. The ones I'm familiar with now, if you're like kind of lazy, don't do Aldi. You won't like it. It ain't for you because not only is it drive or unload, it's drive or load too. Now there's good money in it, just like most of the other accounts. Your top guys are making over $1,600, like 16 to 18, kind of a common range that is achievable. And with NFI, if you've got time to run, they've got freight that needs to be run. So you're not going to be limited on miles like some other companies and some other accounts. It just don't work that way because these are dedicated to things. They'll use some broker freight sometimes as far as the back calls and things, but all that's set up. It's not last minute. They've got a very good system. But the Audi account, the first week I was kind of wondering if I wanted to go back to South Carolina, and the first two guys did, but then I was like, I can't do that because I'm not a sissy. I'm a stud. One of my favorite videos of the year came from the Audi account. I really started liking it. The part I didn't like is when stuff would turn over and I would have to pick it up, like thousands of eggs. That sucks. But I learned how to load a trailer right, and I learned how to drive right, not run over curbs and things to prevent myself from having future hail. Now I've met with a Trader Joe's account, Trader Joe's driver. Same thing on that. It's bang bang running. And it's kind of a driver assisted unload. Some of them have docks, but what he was doing, and I've got video of all of this, was using a pallet jack to move the pallets to the back of the trailer, and then the store was taking it off with the forklift. I met with a pods driver, and it's generally over 3,000 miles a week on pods. This is the kind of account you can get 3,500 miles because it's cross country, up and down the coast, moving those storage containers. It's a flatbed, and there's a lot of cool things with it. Just the communication and the money adds up, and you can work however you want to. This Heaven Hill account is solid. The drivers I've talked to, they love it. They absolutely love it. And so many of them says they love their boss and their managers and just dispatch. Well, I don't know. It's just more personalized because it's a dedicated account, which is kind of new territory for me. Most of my trucking career, I had no idea what I was going to be doing tomorrow. You know what I mean? But there's definitely some comfort and security into knowing what you're going to do, because you can plan, especially for us that have kids and don't want to miss all the events when you're on these dedicated accounts. If it's the right fit for you, it's different for everybody depending upon where you live and everything. But NFI, that's what they go for, and they just acquired a CLI, I think is the name of it, or CAI. It's like like me just saying containers is not doing what that company is. I was reading a LinkedIn article about it today from one of the NFI higher ups, talking about the strategic advantage that acquiring that new logistical company, and I think I forget how many employees came with it too, but it seems kind of similar to the GFP acquisition. It's going to make everyone involved better. But the job listings NFI has, it's pretty much in real time on the website. If it's listed on there, it's available right now. And things that might be available next week, they might not be on there yet. But it's drivers.nfiindustries.com. There's probably a link in this video if you're watching this on the replay. I think I have it just automatically set up. And there's also a link for an online application. From going to drivers.nfiindustries.com and just applying there, it's going to take you, it's a regular app. And, if you want to help me get a new drone, you'll have to put it there. But there's a link for an Intelligent app that's got my name at the end of it in the description of this video where, well, it'll take care of that for you. It's already linked to me. And anyone that does, okay, it ain't all about me getting drones and referral bonuses or whatever. My favorite part about it before was making new friends, like Kentucky Trucker and Big John and, several of the people you met on my channel. That's kind of how our relationship began. So if you do or are considering applying, or after you apply, please reach out to me. Let me know. And I don't know what'll happen after that. But if I don't know, I don't know. You know what I mean? And we are getting really, really close to an hour. There have been several fires throughout the years. Jim, if you have a chance to... Okay, I just read that. Well, let's read it again. Jim, if you have a chance to work for NFI, what would you do there? Any good accounts? I don't know which one I would do. It depends on, which one's close to the house and, works. But all of them I've gotten familiar with, I like. And all of them, and I've been, talked to drivers that, it's kind of the triple whammy. They have some control over their home time and their schedule. They have some control if, they want to be the most valuable driver they can to the company. The company will totally do that. The pay is good, the benefits is good, and they're treated with respect. Especially if you do a good job, it's noticed. It's just been a pretty good vibe at most of the places I've been a part of, and I like that a lot. Depends on your work ethic. That is true. That is true. Attitude and work ethic, in my opinion, are the two determining factors of the success an individual is going to have. Attitude and work ethic. I live in Orlando, Florida. My house is down the street from an NFI terminal. I did see NFI trucks and the shop. I do not personally know what we have going on in Orlando without looking it up. So, why don't I look it up and see? Now, the Trader Joe's account is in Daytona, Florida. And I met a guy named, he's from England. He was cool as a fan. I love this guy. Why am I drawing a blank? That's right. Feels good. Let's see, Orlando. Let me show you guys this, and then I got to get off because I'm having like a really long video. But that is drivers.nfiindustries.com. And let's see, there's team driving position and there's dedicated flatbed drive. Okay, this is the pods account right here. Do y'all see this? There's a $10,000 sign-on bonus for Orlando, Florida to do the pods account. Now that didn't pay it all in one lick, but the recruiting department will discuss the schedule for you. But yeah, it's really a $10,000 sign-on bonus. That is the highest that the company pays. Most don't have a sign-on bonus, or if they do, they're $2,500. And I think there's a few that's like $5,000. I think I've seen one $7,500. But the pods account, oh man, I wish I could show you. Well, I could show you some, but we done went long. But the guy that I met, Steve, absolutely loved the pod account. You tell them you ETA, you go to these, pod facilities, they get to you right away, take some pods off, they might put some on. He was going from Florida up to New Jersey back to Florida, and then Florida across the country to California, which that's where he's from, California. But I ain't gonna say it's 48 states. If I read here, it would. Well, actually, it runs the lower 48. But the biggest concentration is, say, in the lowest 30. But you can find, pods or search your city. But pods is hiring everywhere. This is a growing business. It's a very cool concept. Military uses it a lot. But average weekly pay. We'll have a comment. It has like $11.50 to $12.00 right there. Now, when I first saw that 42 cents is the starting pay, I thought that was a little on the lower side. But this is a run. There's not delays and waiting around on it. It's a solid account. You can get some miles on it. Steve told me he's 3,000, 3,500 miles a week. Not saying you're going to get that. You might not have the work ethic to get that, but the freight is there because these things are going all over the place all the time. I mean, it's pods, for God's sake. Now, this is not a home daily or every weekend. The pods works a little different. They want you to stay out a little longer on it. If it's out three weeks, it's kind of your standard. However many weeks you're out, you get that many days home kind of thing. So if you're out for a month, there's 4 days. So home time is not the selling point on this account. Okay, actually, here we go. Here's all the cities. So Orlando's at the top of the list. Ohio, Georgia, Chicago, Meridian, Dallas, Texas. Depends on your situation and your home if you can take your truck home or not, or need to use the NFI terminal. But on this, do y'all see that? Immediate benefits available. No waiting period on your health insurance, your dental insurance, your vision, your life insurance, all of that. It starts day one. There is a rider policy. So if you want to take your spouse out on the road with you, that's cool. NFI, you can't take your third cousin or anything like that, but it does include spouses, and there's a small charge on that, but it's an insurance policy that covers your spouse in case they got hurt or anything happened. There would be an insurance policy. I don't know the details of this insurance policy. You have to talk to recruiting about that, but I know it's a small cost as far as the rider policy, but I don't think there's much to it. No residential delivery. You're only delivering to the pod centers. Flatbed, and there's no tarping either. And there is stop pay, because, well, you may make a few stops along the way. But from what I hear, they've got some kind of app or website or something as far as your ETAs that works with the pod system that alerts that facility. So there will be somebody there to unload, and they get to it pretty quick. There's no deliveries on Sunday, so they want everybody to start a reset on Saturday on this account. But from what I understand, you can pretty much run your clock out just about every day. It's just the way this is set up. And a $10,000 sign-on bonus. I don't expect that's probably going to be on there very long. Once they, well, I don't know. What do I know? But obviously they need drivers on this with that type of a bonus on it. But it has weekly gross pay, like $1,200. But from the drivers that I've talked to that's on this, they do better than that. But NFI don't blow, smoke up people's butt and, advertise, stats on their website. So I think this is probably kind of low ball in pay right here. While it is flatbed work, it does not require flatbed experience. Our team will train you in the securement of storage containers, which requires strapping only. No chain securement or tarping necessary. Another thing for people who are, I know, like when I went to US Express, I was there like all week in orientation with rooms of people that were, quitting and couldn't duck walk and getting sent home all week, watching these boring ass videos, that you're falling asleep to, and they bring in lunch in, and you're in a hotel, and you're on buses, all that stuff. Well, NFI has changed that, and the orientation now, from what I understand, is virtual. They send you a link to get started on your orientation. There are a series of, depending upon the account and things, there are a series of videos and documents you'll need to either take a picture of, scan, and send back in. Drug tests would need to be scheduled, but you can do it in like wherever you're from. There's some facility that does it, or wherever you're at. And if the driver gets everything done, it can be done in a week, and you can be working the very next week. And for things like, this, there'll probably be a little bit of, training involved with it. But, well, I know, anytime I worked on a new account, the first day that I went out, even though I'm an experienced driver, they would set me up with a driver that's experienced on that account to ask questions to, and, kind of see it. And if I needed another day, they would make that available too. I never have really went out the second time. But yeah, it's good. But we are over an hour. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I'm going to check the comments. If there's anything anybody else wants, now's the time, people. Because I ain't trying to have a telethon. Okay, if you're single and want to travel, you can be a startup person and travel to new accounts. I was in a sleeper and they put me up in a hotel for 6 months of the year on 2 different accounts. Okay, I kind of like working on it, but I guess you find your honey account, why would you want to do anything else? Are there any special precautions in place to haul bourbon? Well, I hadn't heard anything about the fire, but they do put a few locks on the trailer because this is high value stuff. I've only heard one person talk. Well, I think I actually heard this from 2. They didn't have like a personal account that they had heard a rumor about. I don't know, some got stolen a couple years ago or whatever. But now there's a lock on each side, and then there's one of these double locking things that hooks the beams and everything together. So that they've got it secured that way. And some of the trailers, not now since NFI's took over, they've really used their own trailers, but they inherited some trailers from the account when they started it up a couple of years ago. And there's some that are like billboards on the side of them that are beautiful with like, what's in it. Like Evan Williams and all the bourbon and liquor companies have those. But all the facilities they deliver to, from what I'm hearing, has parking either at the facility or really close by. So, you might, these guys probably don't park on the side of the interstate with those billboard liquor trailers. I don't think I would. That'd make me a little nervous. You never know. But I haven't heard of, and I've talked to the manager, of any crazy situations happening since we've taken over the account. Precautions, they just lock them up and be smart, I think, are the main precautions. I haven't heard anything about fire, but I guess that could potentially happen in the right set of circumstances. Anybody else got anything before I end this? Going once. Tell you what, why don't we end with the Trucker Jim rap video? You guys like that? Do you? Do you? Hold on. I've got to pause this, open a new tab. YouTube. Now, I've been trying to promote this rap video because I think it's pretty cool. Has anybody not seen the Truckin' Time rap? Like, seriously, me and my son, we came up with the beat, came up with the lyrics, and it's totally Trucker Jim. I mean, we talking about boudin balls and keep on trucking and all that good stuff that's in this rap song. And then there's also a video. That's right, a music video. And you're getting ready to see it right here, right now, live on the Trucker Jim channel. And then after this video is over, people. But I give to you Truckin' Time rap. Aren't you playing? I'm not on Wi-Fi.
Break 1-9, break a 1-9. It's that time.
Truckin' Time.
I-85 with the hammer down. Too bad the governor's on my southbound. Hitting Atlanta, just the right time. Freezing on through, making good miles. Headed to the border, on my way down. 650, turn it around. 2,500 miles in just 4 days. That's how this mother trucker gets paid. Let me slow it down and be real with you. Trucking is great, but it damn near kill you. Truck stop food, piss bottle living, shower credit spinning, scratch card winning. Ain't seen home in almost 2 weeks. Don't feel bad, it's just your cotton cheese. Cookie, bacon, avocado, making coffee in the truck. Truck stop food, my left nut it can suck. Butter in my coffee, money on my mind. 12 hours later, it's quitting time. Where to
That's
park?
Jim Dunn.
That's the question. Stop for occasion is my suggestion. Boom. Keep on trucking.
And there it is. What you guys think? Y'all like that? And I saw somebody left a comment about how to get in touch with me. Email me. Truckerjim at gptruck.com or truckerjim at nfiindustries.com. Both are in the description of this video. But that's probably the best way. I mean, you can leave a comment on a YouTube video or whatever, but email would probably be the better way. And I get enough like robocalls as it is. So I'm not going to throw my phone number out here on YouTube, but if you send me an email, I'll send my contact information, as far as phone or, call or text or whatever. And if I can help in any way, I will. But the recruiting team, they're outstanding. Good friend of mine, Lance, he's over recruiting, and he don't hire dummies. It really, even on the Lowe's account, it blows me away of the quality of people that they hire and that stick around. It's just, I don't know, good natured people. Been making my job as the videographer a lot easier. Now I get told no, but never by any of the ones the managers say, hey, this is a driver you want to talk to. The driver's doing great. This is a good representative of our company. Every one of those, and there's probably been 7 or 8 since I've started doing this, are outstanding drivers. I hadn't. Well, actually, I have met 2 female drivers that I've done videos on, but I just kind of ran into them. They didn't, the company didn't ask me to speak with them specifically like some of the others. but the ones that the companies tell me to are top notch, man. I've been impressed with every single one of them. The guys today, and then the Trader Joe's and the Pods guy. The Pods dude absolutely loves the Pods account. There should be a video on the NFI channel coming out soon. I don't know. Maybe as time goes on, I can put some of that footage and put some things together showing you guys on this channel. But we're not at that point right now. I'm in the early stages of this videographer position with the company, which I want to get into editing. But I'll do whatever they want me to for now. I'm excited for the opportunity because I know I'm part of a good group. They pay well. They're fair. They recognize talent. They understand phone jack. It just has the Z plug. Anybody still there? Well, tell you what, I think I have broke my record for a long live stream with a big frozen spot in the middle. So I imagine most people's probably not going to make it to this point. But for anybody that did, thanks a lot. But I'm going to wrap it up. Thanks again, Paul Wibbles, for the $49.99 super chat. That's another record for me. Never had one quite so high. I appreciate it, brother. And it was great hanging out with you. And if I do get the opportunity to come up here again, I'll definitely let you know. But I'm out, guys. I'll be headed back sometime tomorrow night to head back to South Carolina. So maybe we'll do a live stream from the Malibu. Hey, what's up, Paul? Hold on. All right. I will. Hey, okay. I'm sorry. I saw that 21. I thought that was people, but okay, some people are rolling back in. Somebody say something. Let's see. I should probably put my AirPods in. Maybe the audio will be a little better. But nobody is saying anything. I see a few people in. Jim, you the best trucker I know. You probably don't know too many truckers then, do you? But I appreciate it. It was 5 years ago, video 35. Well, I guess it has been 5 years ago. For you guys that haven't seen that, what Paul's talking about is back on season 1, which I do have playlists set up. If you go to my channel, the home page of the channel, and if you hit playlist in season 1, but it's episode 35, I was in Utah. There's some pretty cool footage of Utah. My editing skills was not as good then, and my equipment was not as good, and the sound was not as good, but the adventure was really good because I was green and excited, and trucking was very, very new to me. Everything was new. I was experiencing it for the first time. And let's see, I guess I was with my first, if it was episode 35, I was with my first teammate, Malik Cooper was his name. Hadn't spoken to him in a long time. He was a cool guy. He's a pretty good little rapper, too. I wonder if he's seen my Trucking Time rap. But I stopped at a rest stop, and, I was out stretching and everything, and I saw these prairie dogs. And, I mean, there was probably, I don't know, 5 or 6 of them running around, cute little suckers. I'd never seen prairie dogs before. They were like little squirrels without tails. And I went and got, I think I had some old nabs, little cheese crackers or whatever, and I started, tossing them up. Next thing you know, I had a pack of prairie dogs like all around me, making their little squeaky sounds. But I had them coming up and taking crackers out of my hand. And I even had one hop up on my knee and take a cracker. And I had my phone out, so I'm videoing all of this. It was really, really cool. Yeah, like brought tears to my eyes. It was so cool. But those tears, I guess it was some funky bacteria I got from messing around with prairie dogs. Because before the week was over, I could barely, my eyes had pus in them and everything, and ended up catching pink eye. And, I was out on the road, didn't have health insurance yet because I was new with US Express, because they're not the kind of company like NFI that'll, hire the right driver and start their benefits day one. Nah, it was like 90 days or something like that. So I didn't have health insurance yet. But I ended up stopping by a Walmart that had an eye center. letting him confirm I had pink eye, and then I was able to get some antibiotic drops that, cleared it up. But it was pretty daggum uncomfortable. But there's a video of all that. But the prairie dog starts at 35, and trucking with pink eye was the video that followed shortly thereafter. But thanks for bringing that up, Paul. That was one of my more remembered videos. One of my other favorites was the Nashville vape shop when you rode your BMX bike from the truck stop. Everybody always, there's this song. Actually, let me play it. Let's see. I don't have Apple Music anymore, so do I have YouTube on there? We'll do it from YouTube. It is called, I better pause this one so we don't have that echo feedback. Brand New Key. Brand New Key. This song was featured in Boogie Nights. But when I used to carry my bicycle around with me, anytime I would film myself riding, I always liked to play this song. And everybody loves it. It's funny.
I rode my bicycle past your window last night.
I roller skated to
your door at daylight.
There's the melody.
It almost seems like you're avoiding me.
Okay, I gotta stop that or I'll get a copyright strike. The last thing I want is to play 15 seconds of this chick's song and lose out on all the AdSense of a 82-minute video. Yeah, but that's funny. I use that a few times. Misty used to always like when I would use that song and ride my bicycle because it looks kind of funny, that song. Me riding my bike around. Jim, have you ever met Trucker Josh? No, I haven't. But Trucker Josh, he's like a Canadian truck driver, right? If he's the guy I'm thinking about, I've watched a few of his videos, but I have not met him. I hadn't really met very many creators over the last year or so. I'd met a bunch in Dallas a while back, and I don't know, there really wasn't a happy ending to it. Anybody else got anything before I wrap this up? And I appreciate the few that, came back after that like 10, 12-minute pause break. But everybody, thanks a lot for tuning in. I guess I got to get to bed because I got to get all this stuff packed up and have an eventful day tomorrow and then drive like 400 miles to make it back. And I got a new roommate at the house. I guess he's in there now. He hadn't moved in when I had to roll. But that is cool. September rent won't be nearly the stress when I only got to pay half, right? But everybody, have a good night. Thanks for tuning in. Any of you guys that are interested in, finding a career and join the NFI GMP team, place to start. Well, you can actually just do the application and recruiting will contact you. Or if you go to drivers.nfiindustries.com, you can search all the accounts. But there's a lot of really good ones. And most of these are not over the road, out for a month positions. If you want that, the Pods is a really good one. Great miles, new equipment. They're either going to be like a newer Volvo or a newer Cascadia from what I'm seeing with NFI. GMP, we've got some internationals, but I've never seen any NFI international trucks. They're Cascadias and Volvos for the most part that I've seen. But if you have any questions, you can email me. All my email addresses are below. But everybody have a good night, and I'll see you next time. But until then, be safe out there and keep on trucking.